Okay, if you're thinking about buying Apple storage, please don't before watching this video, because I can literally save you thousands of dollars.
So we are paying them. Why?
It's not a joke. After Apple raised their prices on storage and RAM, I was desperate to find a better and cheaper alternative, and I found one. So if you'd like to save literally thousands of dollars, not pay Apple storage price, then I've got an amazing solution for you. But there are a few things you need to know, so let me show you how this works.
Why don't you walk me through this?
So first, I'm gonna walk you through some important bits about this and how to set it up. And then I'll prove it to you that it is better, because I'm gonna show you the speed test, that it is better than what Apple offers. If you're impatient and you want to know just what's the best and what to buy, you can find the links in the description below. Since I've got a relationship with Acasis, I actually managed to get a discount code for you. So you should be able to get this even cheaper than what you can find it online. So links down in the description below. As you may know, I've been testing storage for years now, and this over here is the best one I have found yet, because I haven't found anything else that supports Gen 5 NVMe's. I'll talk you through it if you don't know what that means. But this over here is Acasis TB504. Very important not to mistake this with a Thunderbolt 4 version, because this is a Thunderbolt 5 version, which I believe should be the TB504 Pro, or just make sure that it says 80 gigabits per second. But in essence, there is this big block of metal. Inside, there are 4 NVMe slots. The best news is that those 4 slots, each one of them is PCIe Gen 4 X4 slots, but they're supporting PCIe Gen 5 as well. If you've seen any of the Acasis devices before, like a single one, then I haven't found one that supports PCIe Gen 5 NVMe's, whereas this one does, and I'll show you why this is extremely rare feature and makes this even better than what else is out there. On the back of the device, we've got 4 ports. We've got the power in. This power block is 180 watts power delivery, which means that if you plug your laptop into there, it also supports power for your laptop and powers your laptop up to 60 watts power. Then we've got 2 Thunderbolt 5 ports, both of them showing 80 gigabits per second, which means that if you connect this to your computer like this, you actually get 2 extra Thunderbolt 5 ports. Very important to mention that you still be limited to 1 Thunderbolt cable speed. So even if you have 2 Thunderbolt 5 devices connected, there might be a limitation in certain workflows, but you could easily connect like a display to this and then another external hard drive or something like that, or other dock or whatever in there, and it's completely fine, which means that you can daisy chain other devices like this together, or some of the other Thunderbolt 5 devices. In fact, this thing allows you to daisy chain these together, 5 of them. That's 20 M.2 SSDs. That is up to 180 terabytes of ridiculous speeds. This doesn't have any hardware RAID on it. If you want to run RAID on it, you're gonna have to do this on software. This is basically just an enclosure and then connect it to your Mac and a little hub to get even more Thunderbolt 5 ports. In order to set it up, it's super simple. There are 4 screws on the sides, and you just remove them with this included screwdriver. Unfortunately, I've tried my own screwdrivers and they're a little bit large for this, so you're gonna have to use this tinky one that has been given to you. The cover comes off just like that. And as you can see, I have 4 M.2s already installed. When you're installing the M.2s, it's very important that you use the thermal pads included. Why? Well, because when M.2s get hot, they actually lose performance. So we need to cool them down. And this big block of aluminum that comes with it, all of this thing is a huge heatsink on the top and on the bottom. So the passive heat cooling that this device has is absolutely insane. You could literally kill somebody because that is so heavy, which is really nice because on the desk it's not going to be sliding around. Now, when you're getting your SSDs, there is one super important bit that you can miss here. On the top, you're going to install these thermal pads that Acasis has given you, and I have measured them. They are 1.5 millimeters thick, so in case you need to buy more, you can buy 1.5 millimeter thermal pads. You can cut them to size and Bob's your uncle. But certain SSDs have a thermal pad underneath as well. For example, this one here is the Samsung 9100 Pro. This is the 8 terabyte version. The 4, 2, and 1 terabyte versions of this don't have this, but certain other manufacturers have this on other models as well. For example, we've got the Crucial T705. This is a 4 terabyte model, but this has chips on both sides, on the top and on the bottom. So if your bottom side of the SSD does not look smooth like that, but it has chips on both sides, you're going to have to put a thermal pad underneath as well. But this device does not give you thermal pads underneath as well. I have installed this, if I'm gonna pull this Samsung one up. As you can see, underneath this Samsung SSD, I've got a 1mm thermal pad. Just pop that underneath and then plug your SSD in. I've tried thicker ones. It's not going to work. It just slots down there. You can put a little bit of pressure on so it actually kind of sticks down to the bottom one, and then the heat can go onto the bottom side as well. And then once you put the heat sinks on the top, the other ones don't have any chips underneath, then we're good to go. Gently pop the heatsink back on the top and then screw it in. Remember to use those black little rubber tips to actually hold the SSD in place. And if you saw, there are different sizes available. So you can put your small ones like the 2230 size. But the thing is, if you've got any size M.2s lying around in your house already, maybe you've used something, you can utilize them in this and get super fast storage on your Mac that hasn't been possible before. Once the SSDs are in, it's super simple to plug in. Use the power cable, you plug it in the back, and then your PC, use the included Thunderbolt 5 cable. These are super expensive and very important that you use this one. The Thunderbolt 5 cable goes into the one that has a computer little sign on the side. So that's the most bottom part. You plug that in, and then we're gonna go on the bottom, and then you just press the power button. And as you can see, one light comes on, and then the rest of the lights come on. On my computer, as you can see, 1, 2, 3 are already on now. Yeah, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them have shown up. It's time to show you how fast this thing is, because that's just ridiculous. First, I need to show you the internal SSD speeds. So I have the M4 Max MacBook Pro, and that's very important that you do get Thunderbolt 5 support on your Mac. So that is M4 Pro, M4 Max, and anything above that. Actually, M5 doesn't have that. If you're unsure, just Google, does this, my model Mac support Thunderbolt 5? First, we're gonna take a test on just the internal Mac, what I have here. And I can see the internal Mac speeds around 4,000 megabytes write and about 5,200 megabytes read speeds. Let's take another test. So as you can see, even the M4 Max has super fast internal speeds. We get 6,500 read and about 7,200 write speed. So they're basically Gen 4 NVMe SSD speeds. As you can see, I don't have anything else plugged into my Mac apart from this Acasis cable, and it just shows that I'm on power adapter. In a minute, I'm gonna show you the best SSDs to buy for this. Now then, first let's take a Gen 4 NVMe. So this is the 1 terabyte Western Digital SN850X or WD SN850X. This is a Gen 4 drive. We're gonna do a speed test there. Already faster. And on both of them, as you can see, this is just faster than what we have done on Mac. We can see on the left side, we have the internal. And as you can see, the read speed is actually faster on the external than on the internal. The write speed is faster on internal Mac than on the external. Bear in mind, that is still ridiculous speeds. I'm gonna show you real world speed in a minute. This is a Gen 4 NVMe SSD. What if we jump up to Gen 5? I've got few options plugged into there. I'm gonna show you the best possible Gen 5 NVMe that I can think money can buy, which is the Kingston Theory Renegade G5 drive. I've got the 4 terabyte option in here. Let's do a test. Ooh. Slightly faster than that. The anamorphous disk mark. As you can see, while we're still running the test, the read speed of the Gen 5 drive, again, faster than what we have internally there. But the write speed, slightly slower, 6,500. But now, if you're looking at the random read and write speeds, as you can see on the very bottom, the last 2 rows, then the external has quite a bit better random read and write what we have internally, which is just absolutely insane. Bear in mind, the internal SSD is very close to the CPU, so there's no delay or things like that, whereas we get connected to a cable and externally, which is really, really amazing results. Now, technically, the write speed is not as fast as the internal, but if I'm getting this externally, I am so happy because usually the external drives are so much slower than what we can see in here. I want to try the Samsung one as well because we have 8 terabyte 9100 Pro, and that's the absolutely balls to the wall 8 terabytes of super fast external SSD storage. In this test, we're getting as fast as anything else, 5,000 almost and 6,000 almost write and read speeds. Let's do a real speed test. So on the desktop of this Mac, I've got a 158 gigabyte video file. And what I'm going to do is copy this over to this Samsung drive. And if we focus our attention on the bottom there, let me just press paste and let's have a look. Look, it is literally writing 4 gigabytes per second onto it. So we're reading from the internal drive about 4 gigabytes per second, and then writing 4 gigabytes per second. It's less than a minute to copy 160 gigabytes of files. This just blows my mind. And look, the sustained speed is so good as well. It just stays there between 3.6 to 4.2 or 4.3 gigabytes, not gigabits, gigabytes per second. That's just absolutely incredible speed. And that's it, it's done. So that means that if you're using any of the projects externally on this drive, it's in theory so similar to the internal speeds of the M4 Max MacBook Pro or any of the M4 devices out there. Now, important to mention, the M5 Pro and Max are getting faster speeds. We're getting more than 10,000 megabytes per second. But I think this is still insane option because if you're doing video editing, photo editing, whatever 3D project, whatever you need to use externally that you need fast storage for, there's nothing else out there that you can do. Now, previously, there was only PCIe Gen 4 options available, but now we have PCIe Gen 5. Why this is so good is because PCIe Gen 4 storage options are actually more expensive than PCIe Gen 5 right now. So if you wanted 4 terabyte PCIe Gen 4, you're thinking, I'm not gonna go with PCIe Gen 5 because it's more expensive. It's not. I've just made a price comparison and I'm gonna show you some of the best drives that you can buy for 2, 4, and 8 terabytes and how much we're actually going to save compared to Apple devices. If you're thinking about upgrading your storage from Apple for 2 terabytes, Apple is going to charge you $1,000 for this. Apple storage prices are $500 per 1 terabyte. And if we factor in this price, which right now goes for $529, bear in mind, use my discount code, then you can get it even cheaper, but I'm just gonna use the full price to show you the worst case of scenario, as well as the worst Armageddon storage prices that are available right now. So the 9100 Pro from Samsung, if we have 2 terabytes, total is $928 and we're saving $71. So that's not a massive saving, but bear in mind, you're just using one of the slots. You have 3 other for free that you can upgrade anytime in the future that Apple does not give you. You can upgrade. Do you know what that means? So if you're looking at the Kingston Renegade G5, it is actually $62 more expensive, but for most people, that might still make sense because you have the upgrade options in the future. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna explain why some of these drives are more expensive and better than some of the other drives. Then we've got Western Digital SN8100. So this is the Gen 5 successor of the SN850X. And there, we're saving again $71. And then the Crucial T705 seems to be the most affordable one right now. Check the links in the description below. And we're saving $72 compared to Apple storage pricing. Bear in mind, you're buying the whole device and you've got 3 slots for free if you just go with a 1. If you need more than 2 terabytes, things get even better. Let's take a look at 4 terabytes now. Apple for that charges $2,000. So anything less than $2,000, we're saving money. The 9100 Pro right now is $971.63, which brings the total to $1,500. Bear in mind, use my discount code because then you can get it even cheaper. And we're saving $500. And you still got 3 empty slots. $500. Next, Kingston Renegade is even cheaper, and we're saving $524.18 now, which is just incredible since that's the best drive in the bunch. The SN8100 is even cheaper, and we're saving $811.01. That's just ridiculous saving. And when we move on to Crucial T705, which is another Gen 5 NVMe super incredible drive, we are saving $911.39. Do you understand that if you wanted to upgrade to 4 terabytes, you can go with this option instead and buy yourself a MacBook Air? That's incredible money saving, and you've got 3 slots for free. If you want to go balls to the wall and buy 8 terabyte drive, one 8 terabyte stick inside, then we don't have that many options, but here are the best options. So I made a huge mistake here, but it gets even better. When you upgrade on Apple to 8 terabytes, you're not getting 8 terabytes. You're actually getting 6 terabytes because you already have 2. So when you plug in the 8 terabyte SSD onto the Acasis drive, you actually get full 8 terabytes, whereas on Apple, you're only getting 6. So right here, we're actually comparing 6 to 8 terabytes. So when I'm saying that, oh, you're gonna get a little bit of a more expensive price, it's actually slightly more expensive, but you get extra 2 terabytes for free. If we go with Samsung, the Samsung 9100 Pro, actually, it's a little bit more expensive than what Apple offers for us. It's $2,509.04, which is ridiculously expensive, and the total is over $3,000, so we're about $38.4 more expensive than Apple. Bear in mind, if you want to use my discount code, suddenly you're going to save all this money and you still have 3 empty slots. That's the main thing, that you also have 3 empty slots. Kingston Renegade G5, which is really expensive for the 8 terabyte model, I found one for $3,900. We're actually $900 more expensive if you go with the 8 terabyte model. But if you don't mind the different slots being used, you can just use 2 4 terabyte options and you're going to save a ridiculous amount of money. Just bear that in mind. You can mix and match here. But if you want to get the best per slot capacity, then the SN8100 is the best option out there. Right now I can find it $1,599, which is still quite expensive. Not too bad though. And we're saving $871 compared to going with Apple. That's absolutely ridiculous. Bear in mind, Apple's internal storage caps out at 8 terabytes. Here, you can install 4 8 terabyte sticks and get 32 terabytes of storage if needed. Boom. Wow. So as you can see, speed-wise, sometimes we're faster and very neck to neck with Apple's internal storage. But the last thing I want to talk to you about is the difference between different SSDs. Now, in essence, you just throw in whatever you have to save the most amount of money. If you've got something lying around, just put it in there, it's fast. If you need to buy new storage, new SSDs, and you don't want to pay Apple price, the best options right now here is, number 1, the Kingston Fury Renegade G5. That is the best SSD that I have tested, but the SSDs have something called SLC Cache, which means that once you start writing really big files on it, maybe you're a creator and you're just unloading your cinema footage from your brand new Sony FX5 and there's terabytes of footage, for example, and you want to load it onto this to edit, what happens is at first it's going to be super fast, but each drive has a capacity. Once that capacity is full, in different times it's different. For the Kingston Fury Renegade 4 terabytes option, that is 1,365 gigabytes. That is really, really large. Just to put in perspective, Samsung 9100 Pro, the same drive, but from Samsung, what you just saw in there, has it at 442. So the Kingston Fury Renegade has it 3 times as big as Samsung when you're loading really large files. But bear in mind, if you're not loading more than 442 gigabytes per load, because it empties itself and spreads it out on the SSD, then the Samsung drive is very good as well. There are some sources that say that the WD8100 has it even higher. I know that the Gen 4 drive has it even higher, but for Gen 5 drives, the Kingston one is the best one out there. Then I would say is Samsung or Western Digital very, very equal. See which one is closest, even Crucial T705, they're all on the same tier. The performance is really, like, you can't really tell the difference, see what the pricing is the cheapest. But now let's get to, perhaps for some people, the best bit. Warranty. Apple offers 1 year warranty. In some countries like in the UK and Ireland, I think it can be 2 years, but this Acasis Enclosure offers you 2 years of warranty wherever you are, which is in some cases equal or better than Apple. Whereas the SSDs inside Samsung, Western Digital, Kingston, Crucial, they offer 5-year warranty, which is 5 times longer than what Apple offers you, which is just a better option. And if it breaks, what can you do? You don't have to throw your whole laptop away. You can actually just easily buy another one and then just change the SSD yourself. You don't have to be a mechanic to change your SSD on your Mac. And finally, you might be thinking, dude, these prices are still insane. And I agree with you. But on the positive side of the things, it's still cheaper than Apple. Prices are only gonna get better. Apple's not gonna change the prices. Most likely by the time you're watching this, you might have it even cheaper, meaning that you're gonna save even more compared to the Apple's device. Honestly, I'm so happy that there are things like this out there and products and accessories that don't just offer like something extra, but just something better than what Apple offers you. So go check out the links in the description below. Thank you very much guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.